Hi, it's Amy and Tim with Go With Less. So today we're going to talk about hotels versus Airbnb. We're going to cover the pros of both first, and then we're going to cover the cons second.
If we have time today.
If we
we
have
won't
time
go longer
today.
than 6 minutes. So if
There
the
you
cons
go.
are going to take us over 6 minutes, then we'll do the cons tomorrow.
So I'm going to cover the pros of hotels first. And so one of the nice things about hotels is they're typically consistent. So no matter where you go in the world, if you stay in a Marriott or a Hilton property, odds are there's going to be some consistency within the brand. It's not always the case, but typically our experience has been that there's a lot of consistency. Also, when you show up in the middle of the night to check in, there's going to be somebody to check you in. There's going to be a concierge there to direct you around town. You know you're going to have good water pressure. You know you're going to have good electricity. You know you're going to have air conditioning that's consistent. You know you're going to have, what else?
Maybe heat.
Maybe heat, that's right. So consistency is really one of the major pros of staying in a hotel. The other thing is oftentimes hotels, and I traveled a lot for business, and so they have a points program where you can actually earn points by staying, and there's benefits that also come from frequently staying at hotels, like lounge access, and also you can earn, like I said, you can earn points, and so you can eventually stay for free if you stay enough at hotel properties. And so those are some of the pros of hotels. Any pros that I missed you can think of?
They're usually in touristy areas as well. So they're
That's
near
actually a
stuff
great
that
point.
as a
They're near
tourist
stuff.
you might want to do.
That's exactly right. So they're near
Public transportation,
That's exactly
highways.
Right. Yep, and they're going to be in areas that are going to be nicer typically, not always, but they're in areas that are going to be convenient to most of the things you might want to do. And if you're looking to do touristy things, they're typically going to be located close to touristy things.
They're a more known factor. There's less surprises with a hotel.
Again, consistency. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Airbnb, and we're here on the porch of our Airbnb that we're leaving today out of Belize in Ambergris Key. What we like about Airbnb, there's a lot of things. First of all, so we are traveling with our 17-year-old daughter, and we have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. We will have a tour of that home on one of the videos that we're going to be posting up on YouTube, but this is an incredible value. So we paid $90 for the entire stay for each night, which is an incredible value. So a similar hotel for 2 rooms would be closer to $200 to $400, and our daughter has a different sleep schedule than we do, so we want to have 2 different rooms to accommodate for that. We also like that we were able to make breakfast in our kitchen each morning. So we bought some groceries and made breakfast every day and started our day healthy and very affordably. We get to, what else? There's a lot to Airbnbs. Oh, they're unique, so you might get to make friends with the hosts.
Yep.
We have quite a few hosts around the world that we have stayed in touch with, and it's a local experience. So
Yep,
you're in a
we're often
local
in a
neighborhood,
which is also good for if you want to buy groceries, if you want to
have local food.
local
So if you
food.
want to have local food, by the way, is often cheaper food. So and you have a very different experience. You could rent any kind of accommodation, but you can rent things that are kind of outside normal things, like a castle or a teepee or a tent or a camper, an Airstream. You could rent a plot of land and bring your own tent. That could be an Airbnb. So there's really everything available on Airbnb. And one of the things we do like, as I mentioned, is that for like apples to apples ish, if you can make it apples to apples, is that Airbnb tends to be a much better value.
That's right.
Yeah. And we're going to get on to cons.
Are we going to get to the cons? So one of the bad things about a hotel is the fact that there's a lot of sameness. And so if you
It's
like
a good
that,
and a
it's
bad.
a good and a bad. That's exactly right. So hotels are often more pricey. Also, the fact that they're often in touristy location means that you're going to pay a premium not just for the hotel itself, but everything you're going to do in the area around the hotel is typically going to be priced at a tourist premium. Here in Latin America, I think they call it a gringo tax. I don't know where they call it around the rest of the world, but there is a tax you pay for being in one of these properties. Also, if you're going to do your laundry or things like that, that's often not available in a hotel property. What else is a con about a hotel? So price, just the price of the hotel period, I don't think I covered that. Is typically you're going to pay a premium for staying in a hotel. And what else is bad about a hotel? I think the main negative is the homogeny. It's just
So
sort
if you're
of
going to
the
be
sameness.
traveling for adventure, it might be a little easier to find that in an Airbnb.
That's right.
So, and as far as Airbnb cons, you kind of don't know what you're getting. So it's very, very important to read those reviews like a hawk. We're very careful about not staying.
I was going to say one thing about hotels also is they're widely reviewed. And so you can find reviews on pretty much any hotel property in the world. And so you're going to know what you're getting when you come into a hotel. Not even if that homogeny thing is off at a given location, you're going to realize that when you read a review that this hotel may be off.
Yeah. And so with Airbnb, some new properties might have no reviews. Well, that we've had a couple experiences with no reviews. One was great, one was awful, and that awful experience let us know we're never doing that again. So make sure that you are staying at a property if this is something that's important to you and you're not a super adventuresome person. So we're somewhat adventuresome, but we still want to have it be clean and quiet and safe and dark at night and all those sorts of things, quiet. So we still want to know some of these important things, that we get a good night's sleep and we know that our stuff is in a safe place and that we're safe. So with Airbnb, it's kind of a bit of a wild card. You're not quite sure what that looks like. I personally, so I love Airbnb. I don't find a ton of downside. However, just the lack of consistency is a great thing, and just like the hotels, it's also a bad thing.
Yeah, it took me a while also to come around to the idea of staying in somebody else's space, but ultimately we have amazing experiences in Airbnb.
Yeah.
So,
I want to say something before I forget this.
Yep.
So there are different kinds of Airbnbs. There's Airbnb where you share a space and maybe the owner lives there. There's also an Airbnb where you have the entire whole place. Those are in themselves extremely different experiences. So we've done quite a bit of each one. We've done probably about 15 Airbnbs now, maybe more. But we've done a fair share of we have our own space and we never see the owner, or we're walking through the same living room together and we're with them every night, and we really enjoy both of them. So we find that the second shared one tends to be really, really inexpensive, which we really like as budget travelers. And again, you get to make better friends with somebody as well. Then if you're
just talk about our experience this week. So just a couple of things about our experience this week. So it was amazing. We will certainly give this experience a 5-star review across the board. But there were some downside things, and just things you might not experience if you're staying in a hotel. We had poor water pressure that was inconsistent. We've heard in town that may be something across the board on the island.
That might have been in hotels.
Our internet
too.
was slow. Likewise, we've heard that internet may be slow across the island. There was some noise here that, depending on a hotel property, you may not have experienced. There's an airport close, and so we heard the noise.
Yeah.
Any other negatives? No. But again, a great location, a great experience overall.
Yeah. So we just wanted to give our 2 cents about the two. So check it out. We're
Yep.
going to leave. We actually, if you haven't ever signed up for an Airbnb account before now, I'm going to pop a link down, which is our referral code. So you get some money off of your first day, and I think it's actually kind of significant. It's like, so it changes all the time, but we do have a referral link. That way we get credit, you get credit to apply to your next day. There's the next propeller plane.
Subscribe below.
Subscribe below. Thanks for watching.